Well, hi everybody. Welcome to this messy video. I didn't really rehearse anything, so I'm trying the best I can. We're going to be looking at some lav mics today. I'm a filmmaker, and I've been doing a lot of sound work lately, and last couple of years I've been building my kit, trying out a lot of different microphones, and I'm hoping to show you what you need to spend to get what you need and how they sound. So we're going to be doing a side-by-side sound test on all of these microphones, but I would like to go through them one by one just to very briefly talk about what I like and don't like about each one and how much they cost. So we're going to start at the bottom and work up. The first one is, you know what? This is just an Amazon microphone. It's not an Amazon brand. The brand name is JK, but the name of it is a MIC-J 044, and the number behind it tells you what kind of a connector it has. I always get these screw-on connectors because I use Sennheiser packs. But this is a $30 microphone. It comes in a blister pack. You get a clip, and that's about it. You can see right here that the capsule is on the large size. I mean, it's not huge, but the wire is nice, and they're cheap. You know, at $30, if one breaks on set, I have another. You know, it's not a big giant deal if these break, and I think they sound pretty good. You're going to be able to make a determination a little bit later in the video. Next up, we have this Senal CL6. The reason I bought these, and I bought 3 of them, was because they're so tiny. If you look at that capsule, that's a 3mm capsule. And unfortunately, I don't think you can buy them anymore. So it was a nice product for a nice price at $99. The problem is I can't find them anymore. So, you know, one of them is no good anymore, and I think it has a lot to do, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to see if maybe I can find some way to really focus on that. But at the very tip, it looks like there's like a little tiny screen part of the microphone that sticks out beyond the plastic, and it tends to make noise easily when it rubs against things. That leads me to the Deity WL-Lav Pro. Now, there's some interesting things about this microphone. First of all, it's waterproof. It's the only microphone that I own that says it's waterproof. It has an IP57 rating. It also has a very tiny capsule at 3mm. What else can I say about this one? I don't know anything about it yet. I've never tested it. It just came in today, so we're going to be learning together. The one tough thing that Deity, I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it's good. Deity microphones have a microdot system, which means you have to buy these connectors depending on what system you're going to be using it for. Of course, with the Sennheiser, I buy the 3.5mm connector. However, that turns a $100 microphone into $130 because these little connectors are 30 bucks each, and you have to buy those. The other interesting thing was when this came in the package, it came with a regular clip just like this. Unfortunately, I think this thing is too tight for the wire, and I'm going to try to show you this again. If it doesn't show up, I'll have a really big close-up of it. I don't know if you can see where it looks like it's been bent or damaged, and that's just from how it shipped because they had this connected to it as it shipped. And when I pulled it off, it looks like that the wire is almost damaged. I hope it's not, but we'll see. Next on the list is the Deity WL-Lav Micro. So this was interesting to me because it is a 2mm capsule. It's ridiculously tiny. So I will be able to put this on talent in places and in applications that I would never be able to put something as large as the JK microphone, excuse me. But again, you got to get the microdot connector, and I'm also a little concerned about this wire. It's so very thin. I mean, it feels fragile. So this is something I'm gonna have to be very, very careful with moving forward with it. This micro is $140 and then plus $30 extra for whatever connector you've got. And then finally, we have the Sennheiser MKE2 microphone. These come with, when you buy a Sennheiser G4 500 pack, they come with that system. And these microphones are not cheap. They are $380. I don't know what I can say about it. It's expensive. I have not compared them to, say, a Countryman B3, B6 or something like that. Or the what are those other ones? The long capsule ones. I can't remember what they're called, but they're very popular too. Anyway, you might notice that I have a little loop put on this, and that's because, for whatever reason, these wires, these cables, make so much noise when you don't have them looped like this. And if this is on talent underneath your clothing, it just, the wire, if the loop's not here, just the wire moving around will make very prominent noise. And that was very disappointing to me, that none of the other wires seem to make noise, but this one does. The other interesting thing about this is the capsule is quite small, but you'll notice on the end of this capsule there's a little tiny thing on it, and I'm going to take it off right now. Boop. This little thing right here, these are easy to lose. What they're supposed to do is they are supposed to give slightly different sound signatures to the actual capsule, because I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a tiny little hole, and that's where all the microphone sound goes into. Anyway, these pop on there, and they're easy to lose. If they drop them on carpet, they're gone. I don't even bother looking for them if they fall into carpet, because there's no way you're ever going to find it. And they're $17 each, so that sucks. There's two other things we're gonna compare things to. Actually, three other things if you can consider this Octava 012 microphone above my head here. That's what you're listening to right now. That's quickly becoming my favorite production microphone for indoors anyway. This is the Tentacle Sync Track E. This is the timecode generator that's also got a recorder inside of a 32-bit recorder inside of it, and this is just the microphone that ships with it. And I'm interested to know, because I don't remember ever using the microphone it ships with. We're gonna test and see how that sounds against some of the other more purpose-built lav microphones. And then finally, the last thing we're gonna be looking at is a tiny little thing that I got many years ago. This is called the Instamic Pro. And this was created from an Indiegogo project about 7 years ago. It was delayed, and I finally got it like 5-ish years ago, maybe 6. And it's a clever little thing. It's a self-contained tiny little microphone that is also a recorder, and you just stick it on talent. Of course, it's big. You see it. It kind of sucks in that way, but it was kind of an innovator. And a lot of people copied the idea of having a small recorder. Rode Wireless Go is one that comes to mind. Just a very small wearable microphone that's also a transmitter. Now I do have one of those. I'm not going to put it into this comparison because it's a completely different idea of recording sound. But that is the microphones that we're going to be looking at. So everything from $30 all the way up to $380. While this is not going to be a scientific test, it's going to be an ear test. You're going to be listening to each one of these microphones. I'm going to cycle through them, sometimes quickly, sometimes not quickly, and you'll be able to hear differences one against each other. So let me get them all on my chest and wire it up, and we'll do some reading and see where we're at. Well, I am back, and I am recording on 8 different microphones all at once. So I had to do some kind of tweaking. On my Zoom box, I tried to make all of the input levels kind of equal. So I made them all right at about plus 30 decibels on the Zoom. That means I had to change some of the input gains on the wireless transmitters. So for instance, this one is minus 27. That is the on the MKE2. I've got minus 42 on this Deity WL-Lav Pro. On they're both the Deities are minus 42 on these. So that tells me that the Deity microphones are a lot more sensitive than the MKE2. Now that's both good and bad, because that means that if I have people screaming or yelling during a film or something like that, it may be a situation where I'm not able to turn these down low enough, and they may spike at the microphone level rather than at the recording level. And when you're recording in 32-bit, if you spike on the recording level, everything's fine. If you spike at the microphone level, it's not so good. So maybe these aren't going to be the best for screamers, but we'll find out in a couple of minutes. Anyway, so I've probably been jumping around from microphone to microphone in the last babbling that I've been doing right here. But here's what I'm going to do now. I am going to recite to you the plot synopsis for Jurassic World 2, because it's on my phone. And then we'll be able to listen to each one of the microphones and how they sound, and you'll be able to hear a difference. So here we go. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. 3 years after the destruction of Jurassic World theme park, Owen Grady and Claire Deering return to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from a volcano that's about to erupt. They soon encounter terrifying new breeds of gigantic dinosaurs while uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire planet. I'm back, and I have some thoughts. So my thoughts are, in general, all of these microphones sounded pretty good. I was actually surprised that they sounded as good as they did. Really, it's really the idea was to just let you hear what these microphones sounded like in a somewhat controlled area. All right, so let's kind of go through one by one of each microphone and what my thoughts on them were. This boom, this Octava MKE2 hypercardioid. I can't say that word. Anyway, I thought it was a little heavy on the mid bass. I don't really think that my voice is so boomy, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is a very untreated room. So I think we're getting a little bit of reflection off of walls and stuff. Anyway, I did think it was a good reproduction of my voice, so not too bad. Okay, the $30 JK044 microphone. Now hearing this up against all these other microphones, I may have been doing a disservice to some of the films I've been working on. It just really lacks a lot of treble, and it had a noticeably higher noise floor. But in general, for a $30 microphone, it's not too bad at all. Moving forward. Okay, the Senal CL6. I felt that the sound was pretty similar to the JK microphone. I think it had a little bit more highs, a little bit more treble in there. The noise was a similar volume, but it was a slightly higher pitch, and I don't know if it was more or less pleasing. I couldn't really decide. And I did feel, I felt that the Senal was a little heavy in the mid, like the mid levels. Now we're moving on to the Deity WL-Lav Pro. I was very, very pleased with this microphone. I felt it was missing a little bit of bass, but overall it was extremely clear, and the sound quality was really pleasing. I thought it represented my voice really well, and it sounded to me like an excellent speaking voice coming through. Okay, on to the Micro. This was a real surprise because the Micro had extremely low noise. Like, I was shocked how little noise it had. Now, I think that could have something to do with the fact that these Deity microphones are a little more sensitive, so I didn't have to turn them up as loud. And you saw on the how much I had to bump the gain on the signal. I believe this was the one I had to bump the least at only about 5 decibels or dB. So that could be a reason for the low noise, but it was really only missing the highest of highs. It sounded like a pretty full range of frequency in my voice, and I thought it was an excellent reproduction of my voice. So that one definitely surprised me. The Sennheiser MKE2, I mean, what do you expect? It's a $380 microphone. It better be clean and clear, and it was. All the highs were intact. By my untrained ear, I felt like it had the most range of frequency, lows and highs. It did sound a little like it might have been picking up some of the reflections in the room, though, and that might have just been because it's such a good microphone. It picks up everything. I just felt it sounded a little bit echoey, and again, that's because of this untreated room, but I did find it interesting that microphone picked up on the reflection sound more than any of the others. And then we'll just quickly go over the Tentacle Track E. That was way cleaner than I expected. For an included microphone on that, it didn't look like anything special, and it doesn't have to be anything special, but Tentacle included a halfway decent microphone in there. I thought it was very clean. It was definitely lacking some bass, but it did have a good reproduction of my voice. Now, I did notice after the test that on the app, there was a high-pass filter engaged, which means it would cut off any super low lows. And I don't know if that had anything to do with this or not. Usually a high pass filter is in the 120 to 80 hertz cutoff. So I know my voice doesn't go that low, but I wonder if it had something to do with the reproduction to cut out a lot of those lows. And then finally, the Instamic. This is the one that might have surprised me the most. For being a 7-year-old product, or 6-year-old product, and for being this tiny little thing that just came out of nowhere, very few people have heard of this thing or use it. This little thing, extremely clean. Probably definitely the lowest noise floor. It almost sounded like it had noise canceling. It was so clean and quiet. However, it did make my voice sound a little nasally. On the hierarchy of what sounded best, this didn't sound the best, but it definitely surprised me as far as what it is and what it does. The bass wasn't really there, so the lows sounded like maybe they were being filtered out. Now, this thing does have like 4 microphones around it, 2 on the top and 2 on the sides. And they are working, there's magic in here where they're working together to try and create, or it's almost like an active noise cancellation thing going on there. I don't know much about it. I just know that that they do talk about that in their product line, where they use several microphones to try and get the cleanest sound possible, and it seems to work. So good on you, Instamic. That's the Instamic Pro. They now have an Instamic Pro Plus, which records in 32-bit. This does not. This is only 24-bit. But again, this tiny little thing was really, really impressive. And if I had to use this as a backup in a worst-case scenario, I might do that now, hearing it compared to all the other microphones. All right, so let's crown like a champion. Let's rank these for what they are. And so in 5th place, I know that doesn't make sense because we have some ties, but in 5th place, I have to give that to the JK microphone. It really opened my eyes, putting them all up against each other, that these JK microphones, they're still good. They're good. You get what you pay for $30. There's better options out there for a little more money. Okay, so we'll go to the 4th place, and that's going to be the Senal CL6. It doesn't really matter since I don't think they make these anymore and you can't get them anymore. I got this originally because the capsule was so tiny and the wire was so thin, and it allowed me to place this in places I would have never dreamed otherwise. So these have a place. It's gonna probably be my last resort going forward. All right, for the 3rd position, I have put this boom. It was my understanding that booms are inherently better, and I think in some cases they are, but in this particular case where it's an untreated room, it really picked up a lot more reflection in the room than I wanted to hear, and it made the voice kind of boost up in the lower mid frequencies a lot more, creating like a booming, droning type sound to it. It still sounds very good. It still sounds pretty accurate. It's just that I think there were better recordings done by some of these other microphones. Okay, so going to 2nd place, I have a 3-way tie for 2nd place. It's going to be the Track E from Tentacle, the timecode generator recorder. I was really surprised by that. I was impressed how good it sounded, and it's great. It's great. I mean, and you've got time code, so you just let it run all day long, and then you can fish out what you need through the time code. Impressive. Also in 2nd place, I have the Instamic. This thing is amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. I don't use it enough. I know a lot of people use these for weddings, but I should. And then there's a 3rd tie for 2nd place, and that's going to be the Deity WL-Lav Pro. Anyway, I was very pleasantly surprised how good they sound. Very good representation of my voice, good reproduction, and great noise. Yeah, it's perfectly good. And the only reason why it didn't get 1st place is because the other one, the Micro, and the Sennheiser MKE2 are going to share 1st place. I can't say enough about the Micro. I am amazed. Is this the one? Yeah. I am amazed, just fascinated, that this tiny little capsule can recreate a voice so well and have no noise, almost no noise in a wire that tiny. So that very, very impressive. If it wasn't so tiny and fragile, I would probably replace all of my microphones with it. It's a little expensive at 170 with the microdot converter, but it sounds fantastic. I think it sounds as good as the Sennheiser MKE2. For $380 though, that Mikey better sound amazing. And it does. So that's my video. I wanted to make something to help maybe budding filmmakers, people getting into sound recording, you know, give them a good idea of what you're looking for. And I'm just really testing the ones that I use and the ones that I want to use. And I'm glad I did this because now I know that Deity makes some damn good lavalier microphones. I'm going to do my best to put links to all of these microphones and the equipment that I used in the description. And if you do have any questions about any of these microphones, please leave a comment and I'm happy to get back to you and let you know what I can. So thanks very much for watching. I'll be around.